Copying your competitors is killing you, and it's killing your business. I've been fortunate to have a diverse set of experiences, and I've been in a number of different businesses in a number of different industries. On multiple occasions when I've gone into a new business or been a partner in a business, what we've done is we have essentially copied the competition. In 2005, one of the businesses I started, I did exactly that. I looked out in the marketplace and I looked at what everybody else was doing and the different services that they provided, and I thought, I need to do exactly what everyone else is doing. I need to compete. If I want to sell commercial contracts, then I have to provide this bucket of services so that I have an opportunity to win the business. Well, what I found is it made me hate the business, and it resulted in really small profit margins within the business. If I saw the competition pricing at a certain price point, I, for the most part, matched it. If they invoiced on 30-day terms, I invoiced on 30-day terms. If they offered 25 different service offerings, I offered 25 different service offerings. I used the same equipment. I did all the same things. I didn't know any better. I didn't know the industry. I was learning it. And so I looked at those that had been in the industry forever and felt they know what they're doing. I should do exactly the same thing. The problem was that it resulted in lower margins in the business than I had expected. Likewise, as a result of low profits, I got a low paycheck, which made it not very exciting to be in the business, and then made me think maybe there are other businesses, maybe this industry isn't very good. It made me question it. And my stress was way up because I simply didn't like it, I didn't enjoy it. But again, remember, it all went back to the simple fact that I felt it was necessary to copy what everybody else was doing. Because after all, they were the industry experts. That experience has been one of the best business lessons I have ever learned. I basically, at one point, said, you know what? I don't need this. I've got other things going. And I chopped up the business. I got rid of the worst performing clients, let the worst performing employees go, changed the way we invoiced, changed the way we priced, cut out a number of the services that we provided, scaled it back to a smaller service offering, got out of a number of different segments of the business, and magically profits started going up. Amazingly, I was then interested in the business. I was motivated. I saw the potential once again. And from that, I learned that if you want a better business and a better life than everybody else and what everybody else is achieving, you have to do things different. There's two big traps that kill your paycheck. One is exactly what I'm talking about, and we're going to continue talking about that, and that is you're copying what your competition does because possibly you don't know any different, because you're learning the industry, you're learning the business, or because you just assume if everyone does it that way, I should do it that way. But the second trap that may not be quite as obvious, that is harming a lot of businesses, is we as business owners say, I want to give to my client great customer service. I want to do what they want me to do. This is an example of where I believe giving your customer everything they want is killing your paycheck. Let me explain exactly what I mean by that. You must stop trying to be everything to everyone. Modeling our competition tells us we need to provide all of these different services, very diverse number of services, lots of service. And then our clients are saying, hey, if you can do this because you're doing a nice job or a great job, could you also help me with this? And then you do that. And then you have your employees do that. And then another group of clients says, hey, I've got this problem. Can you solve that? Well, sure, of course I can solve that. And then another client says, can you solve this problem? And now you're off doing something else. And before you know it, as a company, you're providing all of this different service. But it all goes back to two things. One, you saw your competition doing it. And two, your clients kept asking for it. And you want to take care of the client, but you're not working from a plan and from a strategy. And the key here is to realize what harm it does to our business when we try to be everything to everyone and we try to provide all of the different services that our competition provides within the industry. I'd like to paint a picture of a concept. And this concept is that every different service offering in your business is like a little bitty business in and of itself. It's like a little profit center. Let me give you two industries to give you an example. Let's say you're in the lawn care industry and you mow properties. Well, you could trim bushes, you could install irrigation systems, you can install flowers, you can do fertilization and weed control, you can do tree care, you can do stonework. I can go on and on and on. But maybe when you started, your core business was mowing. And then you saw all these different things everyone else did, and you thought, I need to do all of the other services, many of the services that I just named. Or maybe you're in the cleaning industry and you clean commercial properties, and so you do nightly janitorial. And then you realize, wow, there's also stripping and waxing, there's high dusting, there's window cleaning, there's mold remediation, there's grout cleaning, there's carpet cleaning, on and on and on. Before you know it, you're providing all of these different services. But usually when you look at your P&L, you'll realize that one or two, maybe three of those services are generating the majority of your revenue. These additional add-on services, though valuable, are of minor revenue importance to the business. Now, there's an argument that could be made that in many cases you do need to provide supplemental additional services so that you can win the contract or win the business. Or the client would really prefer to have a one-stop shop scenario where all services are provided. But let me explain why this is harmful, especially in the business. I'm not saying you don't go this direction in the long term, but in the beginning, this is an extremely harmful scenario. So as an example, if you have your core service offering, and let's say that core service offering makes you $300,000 a year in revenue, and then you add an additional service offering that takes some training, licensing, you need to really understand what you're doing, and you personally provide that service offering to expand into that business. But you don't really know what you're doing. You're not really that great at it. It's sort of a hassle, and therefore mistakes are made. Service is subpar, and as a result, performing that extra service that you're expanding into makes some of your great clients dissatisfied. And as a result, you lose some of your core business because this new supplemental service was harming your reputation. Second, that supplemental service that you're now providing is a big distraction for you and for your other team members, employees that you're pulling off of your core service to perform it. Oftentimes, when you look at a business and you look at their supplemental services, they're not necessarily pure profit. They're actually loss leaders, or they're services that are costing the company money. Nice profits being made on the core service, only to lose it when performing the supplemental service, the extra service. Now multiply that by 10 or 20 extra services that are provided. And I'm not insinuating that you offer one service and that's it. There's actually a model for that. Some companies do that. I'm simply suggesting consider tightening down your service offering to a small select group of services that you can be very good at. The concept would be that you have your core service offering, and the way you look at it is every time you add an additional supplemental service to the business, you think about it as its own little profit center. Can I make this stand on its own? Can it be profitable on its own? Could it support itself? If you can do that relatively quickly, great. Now, reality is every new thing you're going to start is going to lose money in the beginning because you might have upfront equipment investments. You might have to pay some employees to come in and run this, and you're paying more than the service is generating at first, and so you're losing money. But your core business is financing. That's fine. If all of these little supplemental services are little mini investments in the future that you're growing, great. Well, if they're mini investments, I would argue that you can only afford to go into so many of these different services at one time. If you try to add 5 new service offerings, how can you truly market, understand, hire the expertise to perform all 5 different services at one time? What if instead you look at each service offering, you say, this is a new business we're entering, it's a new profit center, I know I'm going to lose money for some period of time, we're going to make an investment, but we're going to focus on it. That means as a company, we're going to think about how we market it, how we perform it, how we become better at it, how we serve our clients, how we answer calls, how we bill it, how we buy the best equipment, how we get licensing. I am going to become an expert as a company in this little service. Once we have it up and running, it's somewhat self-sufficient, it's generating profit that's acceptable to the business. We say, you know what, we now have time to move into our second service offering. Our second service offering is our next little profit center. And when this happens, and it's very intentional, it's not simply copying the competition. It's not simply saying, yes, Miss Smith, I'd be happy to provide that service. Even though we don't do it, we could do a good job and we'll do it for you. Rather, it's, I'm sorry, Miss Smith, we don't offer that now. Rather, you follow a plan. And the plan says, this year we're moving into this new little profit center. Next year we'll move into that little profit center. And as you get bigger and bigger in time, you might move into several new profit centers in a year. If you're not certain that what I'm saying is accurate, then I would highly suggest that you take your P&L and you sort it by revenue. And you'll see that just a few services make up the vast majority of all your revenue. And you'll see at the bottom of that P&L, you have several services that generate virtually no revenue. They are a complete distraction. They are a complete waste of time. There's no way that if you even as the owner have to mentally think about those services, you could be making profit on those services because there's an opportunity cost to provide them. You are being distracted. Your core people are being distracted. They could be focusing on something more important. So really look hard at your P&L and realize where the revenue is coming from. Realize where very little revenue is coming from. And your P&L may not be detailed enough to tell you exactly the amount of cost associated to each service, but if you dig in a little bit and do a little research, I'm certain you will find that the bottom services ranked on gross revenue, the bottom services on your P&L are costing you money. They're not worth offering. I'll give you two examples from my own life. Let me give you the first one, and it has to do with the cleaning industry. I used to be in the commercial cleaning industry as a partner in a cleaning company, and we are, as a core business, we're in the business of cleaning buildings every single night of the year. We had big properties that we cleaned. Well, in a number of these properties, they had lots and lots and lots of seats, lots and lots of chairs. And we were asked, among many other services, to expand into seat cleaning. And we did. Now, there were companies out there that all they did for a living was seat cleaning. And we were a big operation with a lot of people. But when we did a seat cleaning job, we usually had to send our most expensive management to manage the job. We always underpriced because we didn't know any better. We had a lot of learning to do. It took us a while to learn the business, to understand it. It was a new thing for us. So we started cleaning lots and lots of seats. Well, there are challenges that come with seat cleaning. There are problems we couldn't possibly have known about. There's all kinds of procedures to clean a seat. And we initially were slow about cleaning seats. Then we got faster. Also, seat cleaning wasn't our core business. So when there was a problem in the company, we would have to pull our seat cleaning people to go do something else. And then we would make a client that was expecting their seats to be cleaned unhappy because it was an ancillary sub-service. The point here is that we were in this business for years where we realized we weren't making any money. It was a distraction and a hassle. It wasn't worth it. It resulted in callbacks. Yes, it was generating a lot of revenue, but no real profit. We finally got smart and exited that, but it took us several years to figure it out because it took a while to figure out just how much work goes into offering a new service and building all of the infrastructure needed within the company around that service. So from that lesson, in another business I'm in, there's a tremendous opportunity to install Christmas lights in the winter. It would be a big deal to our business. It would bring us a lot of revenue. It would level out some of our revenue for the season when we have some dips. It would keep some of our team employed. I could name 10 reasons why it would be hugely impactful. We've been in business quite a long time. A lot of our competitors do Christmas lights, but we don't. Someday we will, but we don't. The reason we don't is because for all the exact same reasons I just described with the seat cleaning, we realize now as we've grown as business owners that it's a big investment. It's a big mental investment for the management team. It's a big mental investment for the president of the company. It's a big mental investment for everyone that's involved. It's a distraction from other things we do. We're not experts at it yet. So when we're ready to do it, we need to jump all the way in. In fact, we need to hire somebody that's done it, that's an expert, bring them in and do it right from day one. Rather than doing it and being in it in a mediocre fashion now, let's wait a year or two and jump all the way in and really invest the money to do it right and then grow it fast. Not entering this service, even though it would bring more revenue to the company and it has all these benefits, reduces our stress. It makes our life a little bit easier. It makes our business a little bit better. We avoid unnecessarily burning out some of the members of our team. We believe that if we were to jump into this business, even though it would lift profits during a few months of the year, there would be other negative ramifications. I believe that additional services, if not implemented correctly and intentionally and not planned out, hurt the profits of your company for all the reasons that I've mentioned before. I would suggest that you think about anything you can cut out of your business to simplify your life, simplify the life of your team, and that then leaves room to focus and become great at your core services and become great at explaining your core services to your clients. Become great at selling just a few core services to your clients. I understand the argument against this concept, and that is generally, if I don't provide my clients with all of these services, they'll go to somebody that can. Or if I can't build all of these services into the contract, then the commercial property will go with someone else. There are a million examples that prove that is not the case. If you look around, there are many service companies in your market that focus on one or two services and that's it. For all the reasons that I described earlier, where when you offer too many services, you become weak in certain areas, your competition is making all the same mistakes. So don't think for a moment that if you don't provide all the services and someone else does, that they'll beat you out. Because I guarantee that oftentimes, unless they're a big, mature organization, they have all of the problems I just alluded to. And some of their services aren't all that great. Oftentimes, you can take away business from another company because some of their services provided are weak. And that gives you an inroad, an opening in the door to get in and take the business. And when it comes to commercial properties, there are plenty of examples of companies that partner. So they provide the core services, then they contract out some of the sub-services. It's all built in the contract. The commercial contract is paid to you in full, and then you pay out some portion of that to those that you subcontract work to. There are plenty of possibilities here, and there's plenty of precedent around this concept. The more simple you keep your business, the more you can focus. And when things are simple and your head is clear and you're able to see the path to get you to where you want to go, and you're able to focus intently on that goal, it always equals more profit. This is where the profit comes from. So if you don't buy into everything that I've said, I'd suggest two takeaways. One, take a look at your P&L, take a hard look at your P&L, sort it by gross revenue, look at what is producing most of your revenue, look at how many of the services you provide earn a small amount of revenue, and then think through the costs and the time. And don't forget the time, especially your time, that goes into providing the services at the bottom of the P&L that generate a small amount of revenue. I highly recommend you think about every new service offering as a mini business, as a small profit center. If you get just that one concept from this video, it will be worth it. If you think about any new service offering that you go into as a mini business that involves understanding the service, licensing, training, finding the right people, marketing, educating all of your current clients, going back to all of your current clients to tell them about the new service, teaching your customer service department about it, updating all of your literature, on and on and on. If you think about what goes into that to add one new service, and how often when we add a new service, we do about 10% of those things. We do about 10% of what's needed, and therefore that service is never really promoted. We never really become good at it. We're never good at supporting it. It results in callbacks. If you think about it that way, that one concept alone will make you think twice before you add each new service offering to your business.